friends, my name is Hunter Brenae and welcome to my nail salon. I gotta do my nails, and while I'm doing my nails I thought it would be cute to tell a story from my time living in Korea. The last story time that I filmed, it did really well, but y'all hit me up in the comments. For this video, I'm not going to talk about my dating history, but I will share the time that I met my hero and she dissed me right in front of my face. First, let's talk about the nails. I used a nail cuticle remover for my nail beds. Now I'm going to buff them a little bit, add some nail prep dehydrator, and for the press-ons, I'm going to use these French tip style ones. I like this brand because they make French tip nails that have a darker tone on the nail beds. They do have pinker versions for lighter skin complexions, but they make tips that are specifically for dark skin. One thing that I love is that they give you so many packs in one. I've done multiple sets from the same box, and it comes with 160 pieces, which for the price I think is amazing. This is my last full strip. Yeah, you just tear them off and really easy. First, I'm gonna go ahead and find my sizes. Perfect. So I have my nails laid out and we're ready to get started. This took place towards the beginning of 2024, and at that time I was at the peak of my content creating game. I was getting into modeling and I was working with a lot of really prominent K-beauty brands. I felt like I was a part of this movement towards more inclusive shade ranges and foundations and concealers. I was a part of campaigns that specialized in brands trying to go global. And with these brands going global, they needed to offer options for people with a much wider range of skin tones and undertones. So I felt like I was making an impact. Yeah, so 2024 started off on a very high note for me. Also, at this time, I was going to a couple of pop-up events and launches for some skincare and makeup companies. And I was bumping shoulders with some really prominent YouTube and television personalities, as well as some actors and actresses and people that you see on social media who live in Korea. So it was always interesting to me because, as my tagline used to be, I was a country bumpkin living in Korea. I went there as a teacher. I didn't expect for my whole world to change in that way, but I was given opportunities and allowed to be in the room with people that I looked up to. So it was just such a surreal experience, definitely humbling, and also just, I felt like Cinderella at the ball sometimes. I ended up meeting some of my best friends at these kind of events, and I also encountered some not so great people. And this is one of those stories. So let's set the stage for the scene of the crime. So there was this one event in particular that I was invited to, and I was thrilled to have the opportunity to go to this event. I saw this event as an amazing opportunity to be around my peers. I was, again, new to the modeling entertainer world, so I loved any opportunity to connect with people and socialize. And also I saw this as an amazing opportunity to network because I knew that this brand was inviting some really important people that could help get me some awesome gigs if I shook the right hands and said the right things. I was close with some of the organizers for this event, so I was given an inside scoop that some US-based creators were going to be invited to this party. And there was one name in particular that really stood out to me. I struggle because I don't want to sing her praises, but also I can't help but acknowledge the impact that she has made on the community. So I'll just use past tense verbiage, but I still think that she has a place in this area. Anyways, I'm sitting here trying to rationalize my thoughts. This creator has a very strong presence and voice in the K-beauty world. She is a Black woman, and she has honestly been one of the pioneers for inclusive K-beauty and holding brands accountable for the lack of shade ranges. And also what I loved is she didn't just stop at her own complexion. She was also someone that constantly talked about this in her videos, that she should not be the gold standard because there are beauty enthusiasts who are much richer and have a darker complexion than her. So when I found out that she was invited to South Korea and also invited to this party, I was stoked. I was hoping and praying for the opportunity to get to talk to her, and not in any sort of like fangirl kind of way, but just to let her know that as a Black woman living in Korea, I really felt like she was making a difference. In many ways, encourage her to keep going. I can only imagine the kind of hate and negative attention that some of her content might have been getting, and I wanted to be a positive source of feedback for her. She's on. Okay, carry on. So let's get to the night of the event. I went to this event alone, and I didn't know a lot of people that were going to be there, and also people that I associated with. Some of them were working this event, so they weren't really going to be available and accessible for me to talk to. So I knew that I had to go and mingle and make new connections, which I was totally fine with. That's actually what I preferred. And so I get there, and at the very beginning, they had introductions and talking about the brand, talking about the products that were being released, inviting us to check out the different vendors that were there and the different attractions that they had set up. After that finished, we were all given the opportunity to mingle. And I don't immediately beeline to her because, you know, I have some tact. I wasn't gonna just run up to her and be like, hey girl, hey. Yeah, I worked my way around the room, ate some food because, you know, your girl likes to eat. And eventually there was a moment where she was sitting with a small crowd over towards the side of the room. And so I thought this was the perfect opportunity for me to shuffle on over there and get ready to say what I had practiced. And thankfully, while she was wrapping that conversation, a seat next to her opened up. So I had sat down, but while she was in that conversation, she was faced away from me. So she turns back straight. So I turn to her and I say, hi, how are you enjoying your time in Korea? I remember her responding quite pleasantly, and she asked me my name and what I do. And then I told her my name, and I told her that I'm a content creator and also an aspiring model. And then she asked me, oh, do you live in South Korea? And I said, yes. I'm sad to say it, but that was the end of the pleasant part of that conversation, because from there, the conversation took a turn. When I first talked to her, we made eye contact. But after that question that I asked her, from that point, she never looked at me in my eyes. And I'm not just talking normal eye shifts around the room. You can have conversations and you look around as you're talking, or I'm saying there was no eye contact whatsoever. There was none. And even more important, what I noticed is that her eye contact remained around this area. So rather than looking at my face, or more specifically into my eyes, she was staring at my hair. And I peeped two situations where she gave me the full up and down. So after answering her questions, there was a little bit of an awkward pause. And by this point, I could tell that she wasn't really trying to have like a conversation. So I decided to go ahead and jump right into what I wanted to tell her. I didn't want to hold her time any further, and I was feeling a little awkward, but also my adrenaline was pumping. I was excited to be talking to her in the first place. So if I'm honest, there was a mix of feelings inside me and a mix of feelings and thoughts in my mind. I decided to forego all of that and just say what I came there to say. There are the tips. They're more of a darker neutral compared to the pink color that you'll often see. I'm gonna go ahead and file these down and get rid of the little pieces that are on the tops of all of them, and I'll be right back. Okay, the nails are filed. So for the last steps, we're going to go in with the builder gel that's gonna go on top. And then I have a quick dry solution that I like to put on top for strengthening my nails as well. And it will be done. Super quick, super easy. So I actually still have the notepad of the speech that I gave her. I was able to find it, so I want to give you a summary. In essence, I told her that she's a trailblazer and that her work not only challenged the outdated standards, but also paved the way for diverse and cultural awareness within the industry. So much so that we can see ourselves represented in the products that the brands are creating. that's the gist of it. I'm not gonna go through the details because they're not important, and also I didn't say it exactly that way to her because I didn't read it from my notes. I rehearsed it. I ain't gonna lie. I rehearsed it, and I wanted to make sure that what I said sounded educated, it sounded impactful, it sounded powerful, but also it was just real. I just wanted to talk to her woman to woman, make her feel human, make her feel cared for, understood, and yeah, go from there. I'm saying all that stuff to her, and I'm looking right at her, and she's not looking at me. She was not looking at me. There were a couple points where I would break contact and kind of look around, or something would be happening in my periphery and I would glance at it. And both of those instances where she gave me the up and down, that's when she did it. And remember, we're sitting down, so it didn't have to be an exaggerated, but I saw her eyes go down to where my shoes were and then back up to the top of my head. And again, never looking at me in my eyes. It was during this part where it became very apparent to me that she was staring directly at my hair. I would have been self-conscious and I would have felt the judgment if I didn't know that my hair looked good. Listen, y'all, this was one of the best wash and goes I had ever had in my life as a natural hair girl. My hair, to this day, has never looked as good as it did with that wash and go. Honestly, I was walking around that place with so much confidence. I felt like my outfit was amazing. I felt like my skin was acting really well. Shout out to the beauty brand that we were supporting that night because their products had me looking good. Overall, I knew that I was a presence there, and I was walking around with my head held high because I knew that I deserved to be there. And so her actions didn't intimidate me or make me feel less than or smaller than her. If anything, it confused me. I didn't really understand where it was coming from because I had just seen her in conversations with other Black creators, and from what I saw, she was maintaining eye contact and communicating with them semi-casually. So for me to be getting this sort of reaction was kind of like, oh, okay. But I continued because I had a plan. Even though I wasn't feeling the love, I still wanted to convey what I wanted to convey. So I finished my speech, and finally she returned her eyes to mine, and I guess she had snapped herself out of whatever thoughts were running through her mind. And she says to me, "That's sweet, thanks." I shared a whole speech with her, and all she said was, "That's sweet, thanks." After staring at me, not me, but me and me, all she had to say was those 3 words. Yeah, so I just told her, "You're welcome. I hope you have a great night." And by this point, there's another couple of women that are waiting to chat with her, so she turns her attention to them. And I stand up and I walk away. I think in her mind, she was asking, "Is that your real hair?" I wouldn't even fault her because, again, it was an amazing wash and go. The best that ever was. The best that probably ever will be. And just from me to y'all, shout out. That was actually one of the first times I had used the Dew Most Def. That product is the truth. But honestly, I can't even tell you what might have been going through her mind. I have told this story to some of my friends. I told this story to some of my friends who were at the event, and they were all just as perplexed and all around wondering why that sort of interaction would take place. The night went on without a hitch. I got to connect further with friends that I had met at previous events, and I left with some amazing business relationships that allowed me to flourish in the months after that. So that was simply a small blip in one of the most amazing nights that I had in South Korea. And a couple months later, I got drinks with some friends, some who were at that specific event and some who were at other events that took place that weekend. And they shared with me that she is actually a big diva and she just makes all of these really big demands. So I guess I saw the true side to her. I guess her mask slipped that night, and it just so happened to be when I was having my conversation with her. I don't know how to do this, but I want to show you my nails before I forget. I did smudge one, so I gotta fix that real quick. But this is truly why they say never meet your heroes. This is also why they say don't idolize normal people, because often they're not as great up close as they look afar. I wish this creator the best. There are no hard feelings. This is just a funny story that I've gotten to tell about an amazing party that I went to, and then me getting shaded by a woman that I admire. But she has gone on to do really big things, and kudos to her. I hope that she is basking in that success, but I have unfollowed and unsubscribed. So, but thank you for hanging with me while I did my nails and yapped. I want to keep bringing story times, so as long as they're interesting and y'all don't take them too seriously, I'll keep sharing more on the channel. If you made it all the way to the closing of the video, we see each other. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe down below and also like the video if you had a good time. And of course, I will see y'all next time. Bye.